Good evening. Here's your clear, fast, and professional roundup of the 10 most important stories of the day, August 10th, 2025, focused on the United States and major international events. We'll give you the facts, why they matter, and what's next. Let's get into it. Netanyahu and President Trump discuss new Gaza offensive plans. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke with U.S. President Donald Trump about plans to press military operations against remaining Hamas strongholds in Gaza, a move the U.S. says is aimed at ending the war and securing hostages, but which risks worsening the humanitarian crisis and drawing intense international scrutiny. Ukraine presses to be included in U.S.-Russia talks. EU and NATO voice support. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy won backing from European Union and NATO leaders as he seeks a role in upcoming talks between U.S. and Russian leadership, a push meant to avoid any deal that would decide Ukraine's fate without Kyiv at the table. The diplomatic tug-of-war raises stakes ahead of a planned meeting between global leaders next week. U.S. brokers Armenia Azerbaijan agreement at the White House. Azerbaijan and Armenia have signed a U.S.-backed declaration at the White House intended to normalize relations and open a strategic transit corridor, an outcome hailed by Washington as a diplomatic win, but viewed with caution by regional actors and rights groups. This could reshape influence in the South Caucasus. Iran warns over proposed transit corridor in the Caucasus deal. Tehran publicly criticized elements of the Armenia-Azerbaijan arrangement, particularly a corridor plan, calling it destabilizing and signaling regional friction that could complicate implementation of the pact. Watch how neighboring states respond in coming days. China asks U.S. to relax some chip export controls as part of trade talks. Reports say Beijing is seeking eased export restrictions on advanced components used in AI chips within broader negotiations, a sensitive bargaining point that touches national security, supply chains, and the global race for advanced semiconductors. Federal judge issues another nationwide block on Trump's birthright citizenship order. A Maryland federal judge has again enjoined the administration's bid to end automatic U.S. citizenship for many babies born on American soil, a legal setback for the White House, and a live constitutional controversy likely headed for more appeals. President orders repositioning of U.S. nuclear submarines after sharp rhetoric from Russia. In a high-profile show of deterrence, the White House said 2 nuclear submarines were ordered to appropriate regions, following provocative statements from a senior Russian official, a move that has prompted calm public responses from Moscow and fresh debate on nuclear signaling. Supreme Court ruling spotlight, Mahmoud versus Taylor explained. The High Court's recent decision in Mahmoud versus Taylor about parental opt-outs from specific school materials on religious grounds continues to reverberate in education, law, and policy circles as districts reassess classroom rules and parental rights claims. Analysts note that Trump judicial picks could reshape abortion and other rights for decades. Legal analysts note that recent federal judicial appointments are likely to influence rulings on abortion, civil rights, and administrative law for years to come, a structural change with long-term political and social consequences. Domestic crime update. Montana bar shooting suspect captured after manhunt. Authorities report the suspect in a deadly Anaconda, Montana bar shooting that left 4 dead has been taken into custody after an intensive week-long search. Communities and law enforcement are now focused on motive and judicial processing. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned to this newscast for developments. We'll keep bringing clear, verified updates you can rely on. If you found this useful, follow for the evening deep dive and subscribe for daily briefings. Good night, and stay informed.